Hey, Three Rivers Church, hope you guys are having a fantastic Thursday. We're getting better and better at making and producing videos for podcasts and for you guys. And so today, Pastor Justin and I are going to sit here. We're going to try not to look at the camera. We're going to look at each other, but I want to look at you because we're going to start off and want to invite you into our conversation today. We kind of started the week letting you know we would give you some information on what's coming up. And so our discussion today is around that. And Pastor Justin oversees Radical Life Groups, as you guys know, and does a fantastic job preaching as well. And so we're going to talk about our next few weeks and what it looks like for us today. So I'm going to try not to look at you anymore and just invite you into our conversation to listen. Feel free to hit us up with questions. And Justin, your email is?
Justin, Justin, at threeriversc.org.
There you go. And you can hit me up, Mitch, at threeriversc.org as well if you have any questions. But some of you guys have already received an email, your Radical Life Group leaders, and they're going to be communicating this out, and Justin's going to be talking about that in just a minute. But our purpose today, Justin, is to really share some updated information on gathering together and moving in that direction. Information has been lightning fast since this all went down sometime in March. And I have in my notes, as I shared with you a few minutes ago, in red to try to curb my sarcasm because I am feeling some kind of way. I think we're all a little frustrated with changing narratives. I think we're all a little frustrated with moving goalposts. Mm-hmm. And if you're not familiar with moving goalposts, that's the idea that our initial intent was to make room in hospitals. Well, we did that. Now it's keep everybody well. Now it just seems like, who knows, right? So we produced a plan that was, I think, in really good adherence to our federal government's guidelines. Had a phase plan. States were moving with a phase plan. And it seems like the phase plan doesn't exist in some places anymore, and some guidelines, like the state of Georgia, 25 isn't in anything, but 25 seems to be the magic number. And I think this past weekend with our little youth baseball tournament all over Floyd County and pictures all over social media, but our businesses are having to. So we're all kind of feeling some kind of way.
Yeah.
Don't think we're at the social pushback yet. I don't think we need to be necessarily intentionally breaking too many laws at this point, and if a law enforcement officer hears that, please be gracious. But I think we are trying our very best to do what we need to do, and our challenge is to stay on mission together with about every view under the sun represented in our church. Now, you and I were talking earlier about theological triage, right? So why don't you, what are the three levels of theological? I didn't ask you beforehand to do that, but
no, that's all right.
What's theological triage, and what are we trying to do when we're doing theological triage?
Yeah, so when we talk about theological triage, we're talking about there's first tier issues, second tier issues, and third tier issues.
Right.
First tier issues are those issues that are like essentials to the faith.
Yeah.
You know,
Trinity,
divinity of Christ, death, burial, resurrection, those kind of essential things that for us to consider one another on the same team, Team Jesus, then those are first tier issues.
Right.
Second tier issues are how can we practice that faith together, right? Believers, baptism versus infant baptism.
Right.
We all believe in baptism, but if we disagree on that issue, we're not going to plant a church together.
Right.
Those are more, you're a believer, I'm a believer, I disagree on how to do that.
Right.
We just, there's going to be some barriers that start to arise there.
That's right.
And then third level issues, they're not unimportant issues, but they're less important issues. I think at Three Rivers in our membership class we talk about open-fisted issues and closed-fisted issues. Right. And those third level issues, you start getting into some more open-fisted issues where there's we can disagree, we can agree to disagree. There's a variety of opinions and philosophies on why to do it this way, why to do it that way, and so
that's right. And the coronavirus may be a third tier issue, although it's consumed an entire piece of our bandwidth, right? I don't know if that's accurate language on bandwidth, whatever, but it's consumed an awful lot. But it's still an issue because we have, even inside our leadership, we have everything under the sun in regard to what we don't know, what we know, what we believe, what we think. We have all manner of opinion, and what we're seeing is our challenge is to stay on mission together, stay unified, and take advantage of what God has given us now. But we also need to, but we're also recognizing it's time to begin to move in some direction. If we're not going to get that kind of good direction that it looked like we were getting early on from our local and state and federal government, then maybe we begin to move in some direction. Now, live stream opened that up for us a little bit. So what are the advantages now of being able to live stream?
Yeah, so before I jump into that, I'll give like a caveat to anything that we say. If you're not comfortable gathering in any setting that we describe as being where we're going, the reason we went through the theological triage, have freedom of conscience, right? So if you don't feel comfortable, if you're sick, if you're worried just about the situation, like, we respect that. Everybody's going to respect that. So that's kind of a disclaimer before we talk about anything.
And if you're vulnerable, like if I mean, the truth of the matter is there are still people who are getting sick. They're not asymptomatic, and people are still dying.
Right.
Now, we also have questions on how they're counting deaths. I mean, very frank, I don't trust the CDC, but you didn't hear that from me. But you did, because I just said it. And it's recorded, and I can't go back and edit that out. But it depends on who's counting what, right? But there are still people who are getting sick, and getting sick legitimately, right? And so if you're sick, you don't need to come.
Right.
For the sake of other people and for your own sake. Or if you're vulnerable and you're well, an asymptomatic person could still give it to someone that it could show up in symptoms. So if you're sick, just stay home.
Yeah.
Right?
So that's kind of our disclaimer over everything that we say.
Big disclaimer.
But live stream opened up a lot of possibilities for us because we're meeting back together on Sunday. There's more people here just by nature of having the band. Right? We have the band, we have an AV team, we have whoever's preaching, doing Lord's Supper. So there's a group starting to gather.
Because that creates challenges for everybody, right? Like my family, like if people we're connected to in a Radical Life group, I have to be here, which means my family misses something. So my family's here, right? So this is life for us now. It's COVID church. And so band people are here, right? So we're gathered.
Right, so people are gathering.
Right.
We've been able to socially distance the room based on pods of chairs for families. Right. And could probably get anywhere, 50 to 65, 70 people, depending on number of people and those type of things. But so we have some space. So we have a group gathering, regardless if anybody else joins them. Right. There's a small group that's going to be here. That's right. It gets us back in that rhythm and routine of meeting. Right. And then we've got some space where we could have some people. Right. So it really gave us some options that we didn't have before, because we were recording on Saturday. That's right. Posting something on Sunday. But now that we're here on Sunday, there's people here.
That's right. There's people here present. And everybody, as we said earlier in the week, started live streaming at the COVID who had the technology already in place. Right. And thanks to Jeff Williams for getting us in the good stuff, really high quality, and Owen's Financial Group for donating incredible cameras to help us out. But it opens options for us now. So today you've been corresponding with some Radical Life Group leaders. What are we gonna do now to facilitate us moving into some manner of gathering?
Yeah, so we're going from nothing, right, and we're gonna move towards some semblance of normal, right? And so what that's gonna look like is we're gonna invite Radical Life Groups. They're gonna get a kind of an invitation to a specific week, right, and have a rotating group, or have a rotation where our groups come on their certain week, so that we can get everybody in, but on different weeks. Right. So when it's not your week to gather, meet in your group, watch the live stream. If you meet at a different time, watch the recording. Keep doing that. Right. But then there will be a week over the next 5 weeks where you're invited to come and participate in the live service. Right. So it kind of gives everybody that opportunity to gather in person. Right. Kind of whets our appetite a little bit. Right. Kind of gives us the ability to maintain some social distancing. Right. To ease back into gathering and all the sanitation things that'll go around people coming in the building, and cleaning and setup and all the things that go into play there. Right. And move towards what we hope is the ability to meet in bigger groups. Right. Toward the latter part of July. Right. So we sent out information this morning to every group leader, letting them know what that week was. Right. So that starts this Sunday, and it goes through July the 12th. Mm-hmm. So this Sunday through July 12th, everybody will get an invite. That's in a life group. Right. And if you're not in a life group, we're going to try to include you in inviting you in one of those weeks as well.
Right.
So you should get an invitation to come to one of those 5. Now, because of the limited seating capacity that we're trying to maintain some social distancing and guidelines and just be considerate of everybody.
Right.
Only come on that week you're invited.
Right.
Which sounds really weird.
Yeah.
Feels really odd for me to tell you not to invite somebody to church.
It does sound really strange, right? It does. Right. But let me say this too, though. That doesn't mean you can't invite people to your Radical Life group when you're not meeting on Sunday morning. In fact, we should be.
Exactly.
If people are comfortable, I mean, the church scattered is still the church gathered.
Exactly.
That's biblical.
Exactly.
That's in the manual, right? And so just because we're not gathering for central worship doesn't mean we're off mission.
Right.
There are people around us, and in fact, we have groups who are inviting people, and people are coming. And so praise God for that. So if you can invite people to your home and invite them to your Radical Life group gathering, and however you're doing it, right? But
absolutely.
This building that we meet in is not ours, right?
Right.
So we're trying to be good tenants to our landlord who want to start school in the fall on time. And we don't want to be guilty of setting them back.
Right.
As well as managing our own issues and keeping ourselves well.
Yeah.
So it does feel weird to say don't invite them to church, but kind of not.
Yeah.
Or church when
what we mean
church
is don't
meaning centrally gathered.
Don't invite them to attending the live stream in person.
Yes, that's right.
Anybody outside your life group.
Because it's still church when you're gathered in your Radical Life group.
Right.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's good.
So be on the lookout for that. Your group leader should be communicating that with you this week.
Yeah.
So they've got those dates. They've got the information they need to know about how to come into the building and the things to anticipate when that's coming. So
that's fantastic. So folks should reach out to their Radical Life group leader for that information because it's in their inbox. It's there, and so they have it, and they can begin to distribute it to the people in the Radical Life group. What about some folks who aren't in Radical Life groups?
Yeah, so if you're not in a life group, we're going to do our best based on the data we have to invite you to one of those weeks. But I would say if you're listening to this, reach out to me so that I know, hey, I'm not in a life group. Right. And we'll make sure that you get invited.
Yeah, absolutely. Make sure they get here on a Sunday and get connected. Absolutely. That's going to be absolutely huge.
And then, so that gets us through July 12th.
Yeah.
And that gets everybody through once.
Right.
And July 19th, you want to share about that?
July 19th is going to be a fun day. Just so you guys know, July 19th is as good as a county and city government can be right now is a go. So what we've done is we've gotten approval with the Floyd County Recreation Department to lease the stage and the field area at Ridge Ferry Park. All right, and so Ridge Ferry Park, if you guys don't know where that's at, just Google it, Rome, Georgia. You can find Ridge Ferry Park, but the huge stage area where we have concerts, all manner of stuff, fireworks, things that happen July 4th. So we have an agreement with the rec department, and the city and county have to okay it. So we've got approval with the rec department, and right now it's in approval with the county. So the county could look at our plan and go, nah, no. But the rec department has said yes. So we're about 50% there. So we have a sound company hired who's going to come in and set up sound for us. Adam's got the band. We put the band together, and we're going to come together that evening, and we'll have a plan in place for folks to be able to sit in the Radical Life groups or connect to Radical Life group in pods of 25. And here's the crazy thing. We're talking about moving goalposts and changing information. That data could shift by July 19th. It could all go away, and it's just gather, and we won't have to worry about it. But if some of the stuff's still in place so that we all don't get arrested for in public breaking the law, we'll have to gather in pods of 25, and we'll have a plan together for that. But we're going to be able to get together in the same place and worship together. So you can bring your own food, share with your family. We'll eat, have some music play, and then we'll worship, hear God's word, and hopefully the whole people around will hear. And we'll be able to bear public witness to Christ and be together. And that's exciting.
And that's for everybody.
That's for everybody.
So that's not just in specific life groups, in a life group. That's for anybody.
Absolutely everybody connected to Three Rivers Church, or anybody who watches this video and says, I'd like to come, you're welcome to come, right? Come all and hear about Jesus. And then once we get past July 19th, we're working on some stuff. Yeah. Old saying is, it's hard to put salt back in the shaker, right? And so we're working on some things. We don't want to be too specific about that because, again, we're meeting in another facility, and we thank God for Unity Christian School but we're trying to figure out how to do that well and see what guidelines shift between now and July 26th, and whether or not we can come back together. Large group, smaller groups, and how we need to do that. But we're working on some plans, right?
Yeah.
Good.
And that hopefully that will shift to our favor.
Yes.
By the end of July, and we could, even if it's not a full regathering at once, it's a big enough gathering to get more people in each week than 50. So.
Absolutely. And so we're working on some logistics to make that happen. And so we want to make sure we have those down before we go laying out bad plans.
Right.
And so you guys stay on the lookout for that. Listen, Three Rivers, we want to affirm that you guys are doing a great job. We appreciate you staying on mission and loving each other well and gathering consistently. Remember, God is still at work and Jesus is still building his church. So, Justin, is there anything else we're missing? Have we about got it covered?
Yeah, that's about it. I would just say that we've seen the fruit of our life groups being a centerpiece for a community. Yeah. And so if you're not in a group, find a group, get in a group somehow, get connected to people, because that's been a lifesaver.
Yeah, it's huge. Absolutely. Well, Three Rivers, thank you guys. Again, hit us up. Justin's email, he gave it earlier. My email, I gave it earlier. We'll put it on the post in writing underneath this. Y'all have a great Thursday. Out.